Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, we're going to do something kind of interesting today. You know I'm kind of a collector of interesting memorabilia and the likes. And you've seen a little bit of my Guided by Voices, a very little bit of it. I'll show you more of that at some point. But I've also collected a bunch of things that are Jordan related over the years. He knows that I'm kind of a collector too, so when he's had things that he thought were, interesting little historical artifacts from his life, he's given those to me, and I've kept those in a box for years and years and years. And in fact, I just discovered that box recently, and I would like to show you some of the stuff I've got. So let's go look at this. This is going to be fun. So yeah, I basically got a lot of stuff here. Now, as I've said before, I met Jordan at a Guided by Voices concert, and he told the story once of how we met, and actually that was news to me too. But almost immediately we found out he was in a band called Candyland Riots. And I got involved with the band really early on because at the time I was doing a website, still am doing a website for Guided by Voices. So he knew that I knew how to make websites. And he had a website for his band Candyland Riots, but was having problems getting edits and changes made to the site because the guy who originally, I guess, designed the site just wasn't getting on top of things as quickly as possible. So he asked me early on if I would start making some changes for the site, and I ultimately ended up being his webmaster for the site for the remainder of the life of that site. And so I got a lot of really kind of cool Candyland Riots memorabilia, and let's kind of look at that first. Now, many of you who are Patreon supporters of Jordan have probably already seen or got a copy of this album. This is the last album he did called Orange Sash and the President of the Galaxy. And this is the only one that we actually made CDs of, but he actually had several other albums that really aren't generally very well known because they never really got professionally pressed or anything like that. But Jordan used to like to do collages for his album covers. That was something he kind of got from Bob Pollard of Guided by Voices, because Bob Pollard did a lot of collage type artwork for his album covers too, and that inspired Jordan a lot. And so this was another album that was not as widely released, called Cult Satellite Relocations. This one was only ever released on CDR, and this one's kind of cool because I have the original collage for that artwork cover. Also, if you go into this one and look at the back side of the inlay card, or of the insert, I have that artwork too. So that's really cool. This is like probably a 7-inch piece of artwork that he produced. It's original. It's just all stuff he cut out of magazines and put on, glued onto a sheet of paper, and that's how he kind of did a lot of his artwork in the early days, and well, still did. This is another album he released called Sweden Marriage Club, and that's the original collage there. And this is the artwork from the back, the inlay card with all the names of all the songs on it. This was kind of an interesting album because what he did is he took a lot of songs that he liked from different bands and did covers of them. So you can see he's got like Pavement, Sparkle Horse, Guided by Voices, Graham Parsons, you've heard of him, talk of them a few times, Flaming Lips, Beach Boys, Weezer, Beatles, all sorts of fun stuff here. So that was kind of an interesting album. It's actually a good album if you ever get a chance to hear it, which you probably won't because, it's just not widely available anywhere. But it's kind of a fun album, and it's kind of cool to have the original artwork for this. These are a couple of other collages that I got over the years, and I got to admit, I don't even know what these are for. I'd have to go look through my stuff and try and figure out what they are, but they're still pretty cool, and they're really kind of interesting artwork. So kind of a proud part of my collection. Now, like I said, I was involved on kind of the manufacturing level of getting this album done, and discovered came across the artists who did the actual layout and mock-up of the inlay card that went in there, the insert and the inlay card. And actually, over here on the side of my refrigerator, they'd been in a tube for a while, so I had to kind of put them on the side of the refrigerator to keep them flat. But this is an artist proof of the front and back of that insert card and all the stuff that was on it, so we could kind of look at it ahead of time and see, hey, yeah, this is going to work. So Yeah, there's the original cover and the back side. Jordan had a friend named Seth Frail that did a lot of really interesting artwork. So Seth drew this picture for Jordan and got used on the cover or on the insert. You can notice that he's got the Invasion of the Body Snatchers poster and a bunch of things that Jordan was kind of into. He also did some kind of comics, which ended up in the artwork. Kind of cool stuff there. That looks like another one of Jordan's collages. And then I remember Jordan and I kind of made these up ourselves. We did this at my house and you know, got photographs I think that we had shot at a cemetery at one point, and we used that to create like the lyrics and stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. And a lot of this artwork has been reused in multiple places too. I actually have a drum head that was on the kick drum of Neil's drums when they would perform, and I'll show you that at some point too. Now, while Candyland Riots never really made it to the big time, they were a better band than they ever got credit for and didn't really get the publicity they probably should have deserved. They did get a little bit of press out of there, and Jordan's hometown of Troy, Ohio was actually very proud of their native son, Jordan, and so they did a front page article in the Troy Daily News that had a feature about the band and the whole thing. And you can see there's Jordan in the center, Michael and Hale on the right. So that was kind of fun to see that, and that's an original copy of that news article. This is an article about the guy who was the owner of the record label that signed Candyland Riots. Like I said, nothing really ever came of that, but there was some mention of Candyland Riots down here. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus here a little bit. Yeah, you can see there's mention of Candyland Riots down there in the article. He was basically a band or a label that was kind of focusing on New Jersey artists, but they found Jordan and thought they were still interesting. Now this one here looks like it's a little press briefing about Candyland Riots and the release of his 7-inch single, Queen of the Rioting Scene, which Jordan also gives that away to his Patreons. That's kind of a cool thing to have. There's some great songs on that. Now, remember I told you a little bit ago about Jordan's friend Seth Frail that did a lot of artwork? Well, this is a news article about Seth Frail, and it features a lot of work, including some of the stuff that he did for the band for promotional stuff. So, you know, that was something that appeared on the on some artwork that Jordan used, and this is some of the other stuff that Seth has done over the years. So that was kind of cool too. Now here's another newspaper article that's specifically about Jordan, and this one was kind of cool because it was written by Don Thrasher, and Don Thrasher is a music critic, but he was also involved with Guided by Voices. So it's kind of fun that he wrote an article on that, and you know, there's that's definitely our hero right there. Now this is kind of fun too. These are some promotional artwork pieces for different gigs that Candyland Riots played in. Actually, Jordan and I created this one directly. We found the Matador image online. We kind of distorted it in Photoshop, you know, did some colorization on it, and then kind of created everything else. That was a gig at the Good Hurt on August 29th. I don't even know what year that was, but that was probably about 20 years ago. That's a nice piece. This is another one of Seth Frail's pieces. We've talked about him, and that was a great piece of art. And then we finally got this one here. This one is another gig. Basically, this is another one of Jordan's collages where he, you know, kind of created all this. Now, you know, we dropped in some of this stuff over here with Photoshop, but this whole piece here, minus the text, was all created by Jordan. That's one of his artwork pieces, so that's kind of fun. Now, these are some original set lists from different gigs that Jordan performed at with Candyland Riots. You know, he was just very low tech. Sometimes you just grab a piece of newspaper and write it down. So, you know, great songs, Bullet and Animation, Supermodel Fake Book, 20 Years Ahead of a Time, Away from Spectrums, Queen of the Rioting Scene, Cult Satellite Relocations. Jordan always dedicated that one to me because I love that song. That's probably my favorite song of his. And it was always kind of the finale of their set, because it's kind of an epic song. It's like 8.5 minutes long, and it's just a really, really great song. So he oftentimes, that would be the last song he'd perform on the set. There it is again, Cult Satellite Relocations. Another set list. Looks like in this one he actually started off with Cult Satellite Relocations. Another one, once again at the end here. That's another set list. That one says it's from April 28th, 2002. So that's kind of the era that we're talking about. This is 2002, 2003 era when he was playing with a band. Now this is another couple of promotional posters from Alex's Bar on February 4th. Now the paperwork I have says 2007. I don't know if that's right. I think that's probably a little too late. But we had two different pieces for that, two different pieces of artwork for that show, and there they are there. So as I mentioned earlier, I kind of met Jordan at a Guided by Voices show, and shortly after that he invited us to see Candyland Riots play at their second ever show. And it was a place down in Orange County where they were promoting a documentary that had been produced called Rock Off, that featured several bands, including some live performances by Candyland Riots. And so these are some like promotional business cards promoting that. And this is an actual copy of the movie itself. It's kind of an interesting little thing. It's kind of corny and kind of hammy and kind of has low production values, but it's a really kind of fun, very, very early look at Candyland Riots. And there were two CDs produced that included the music from this little documentary, and these are the two CDs here. And as you can see, it says right there at the bottom, it features music by including Candyland Riots. I actually have two copies of this album, so I thought I'd keep this set still in the shrink wrap. The other two I've listened to a couple times. I think the only band worth listening to on there is Candyland Riots, but I may be a little biased too. And each of these albums included two Candyland Riots tracks. This one created an alternate version of Anthem for the Desperate and Lonely. That's a great song, by the way. And also, where's the other one here? This one's called Elephant Brains Explode. That's a really rare one because I don't think that exists anywhere except there. And then on this one, White Star Charity Sale, that's a great song. And down here somewhere, where's the other one? In a Paradise for Firearms, that's another great song. So when it finally came time to replicate the album Orange Sash and the President of the Galaxy, I had Michael, the guy who actually did the recording and mixing of the album, produce 3 individual CDRs of the album. That way I could have 3 copies to play with and find the one that had the best quality and deal with that. So we actually ended up using copy number 3. This one right here is the one that was used to master the album. And I also have a copy of the stamper from that album. So there were 2 stampers produced. One was used, and then this one wasn't. So this is a unused stamper for the CD replication of that album. And of course, I have a copy of the printout of the digital analysis of the disc, and that's kind of fun too. Wouldn't mean probably much to anyone except me, just because I'm probably the only one that can interpret the data there. But like I said, that's part of the collection. Now this is kind of a fun little piece of trivia. Jordan's friend Michael rented a studio, recording studio, kind of a practice room that he converted into a recording studio, and they kept all their equipment set up there, and they recorded there, but they also let some other people use the studio sometimes. And this is one of the drum heads that was on Neil's drums. Neil was the drummer. And other people, when they were in there, they would always play Neil's drums, and Neil didn't like that. So he actually wrote this sign on his drum heads that said, "These are Neil's drums. Do not play them if you are not Neil." And so when the drum set got torn down, Jordan gave me that. I thought that was kind of a funny thing. You may recall that I was telling you that the first project I ever saw Jordan get involved in was that Rock Off project, that documentary about the music scene. This is actually that ticket from that night when I went there. So April 28, 2002 at the Galaxy Theater in on Harbor Boulevard, and I think that's like Santa Ana or something like that. This is a correspondence to me from Jordan about making the CDs, about how many there were going to be and how he wanted them packaged and all that fun stuff, just to make sure I knew what was going on. This is another email he sent to me after I started taking over his website a little bit. He wanted to thank me for doing so much for that. When we redesigned the website at a later date, he'd kind of written some notes about how he wanted the site to be lined up, and he sent me that. This is kind of a cool piece on the album Cult Satellite Relocations. He got Kevin McCarthy from the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers to do a couple vocals, and this is the actual letter that he sent to Kevin, detailing exactly what he wanted Kevin to say. And he autographed that for me, so that's a really kind of a cool piece. And then down here we have a press kit from the band, just kind of introducing the band, talking about their new album called Satellite Relocations and all the stuff that was going on. And this is kind of cool too. These are handwritten lyrics for a song he produced called The Ghost That Never Lasts. He actually played this song on one of his vlogs a couple years ago. We actually recorded this song and basically almost a whole album worth of stuff just with him and an acoustic guitar. We recorded this at my house, so this was kind of fun. Now this is kind of a fun little artifact too. This is the pick guard from Jordan's guitar at that time, promoting the Troy Strawberry Festival, and he had a bunch of other things that were on here at different points too, but he gave that to me at the end. Now this is another page of original lyrics. This one's called Wrapped in the American Flag, and he autographed that one for me, and that's kind of cool. This is also very interesting. This is when Jordan and Candyland Riots joined with Aria Records. This is actually the contract, a copy of the contract, detailing all what happened here. Like I said, nothing ever came of this, and that was really disappointing because Candyland Riots was a band, like I said before, that should have been bigger than they were. Now, of course, after Jordan stopped performing with Candyland Riots, he started getting into acting. And one of his biggest acting roles was in a movie called Christmas with the Coroncises, and you've probably heard him talk about that a bunch of times. Well, it turns out that the movie was filmed literally just a couple of miles from my house in California, and since he was still living up in Hollywood at the time, he actually asked if he'd come and stay at my place while shooting was occurring, so it wouldn't be the commute that it was every day. And so yeah, this is actually a copy of one of the scripts. This is a script that they had for the original reading, and when he was done with that, he actually had me print this out for him because he needed to have a hard copy for the reading, and when he was done with it, he autographed that over to me, and that's now part of my collection. And then there's also another draft of the script that came a couple weeks later. See, I think this was like looks like this is draft 2, and then this is like draft 4 or something like that. So there's 2 different drafts of that movie script, and those are actually kind of cool too. We're really proud to have those. Now, when that movie was finally released, Jordan and Michael and I were invited down to San Diego to actually watch the world premiere. So that was kind of fun. I saw the movie for the first time with Jordan and Michael, and the director and a couple of the stars were there, including Jordan. And it was a lot of fun to see that movie for the first time with a crowd. And of course, I've accumulated a few promotional photos over the years. This is a Candyland Riots promotional photo that he autographed to me. A couple autographed headshots from when he was an actor. I think he was giving some of those out at one point too. And then of course we've all seen that one. That one he made available to his Patreons. Funny story is I'm actually the person that shot that photograph that day. We went up to Jaw's favorite dog park up there near Hollywood, near the Hollywood sign. And Jordan just said, yeah, we want to snap a photo of Jaw for like promotional photos. Will you shoot it? And it's like, yeah, okay. So that was kind of fun. He gave me that. And of course now we're starting to get into the vlogging stuff, and I've gotten a lot of fun stuff from there. You may recall when he visited the Ike and Tina Turner house, he grabbed pieces of wallpaper because they were in the process of tearing it down. He gave some of that to his viewers. So I got a piece of wallpaper. This is also a piece of I think it was a belt that he had that was a Grateful Dead belt, and he cut that up and gave that to fans. So I got that. This is my ticket when we went and visited the Space Shuttle Endeavour in Los Angeles. And so we went and did that. That was fun. That was when we went to Hearst Castle. Jordan brought me this little pin of Tintin back from when he went to Sweden. So that's kind of cool. I've had that for a long time. You may recall that when Jordan and I went to Oktoberfest in Huntington Beach, these are like some little promotional cards they were giving out. I guess they had like wiener dog races and stuff like that you could go and participate. And so I collected a little of those. You may recall when we went down to Chapman University and looked at the Huell Hauser exhibit that was there, they had these promotional California Gold guide maps that were available, and I grabbed one of each of those, and that was kind of fun. You may recall that Jordan and I went to Las Vegas at one point and saw some fun stuff there. And one of the things I requested when we were down there was that we go look at the gold and silver pawn shop from the TV show Pawn Stars. And turns out that night, Rick Harrison, the owner of Gold and Silver Pawn Shop, purchased a bar that was right across the street from the pawn shop. And he was there with Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk from the original TV series back in the 80s or whenever it was, with Bill Bixby. And I got to meet Lou Ferrigno, take a picture with him, and that's actually Rick. He signed my my bar receipt that night, so that's kind of cool. When Jordan went to Prague and visited the Mozart house, he knows I kind of like, I'm a fan of Mozart, and so he brought me this rock back from the Mozart house. That was kind of fun. That's my ticket from when we went to Watts Towers, so that was kind of fun. And he brought me this back, I believe, from Ohio, the Armstrong Air and Space Museum. So I actually got several pairs of Jordan the Lion sunglasses. This was actually a pair that he was going to wear and then give away to a fan. You know, what he was doing in those days, he'd wear a pair of glasses for a certain period of time and then he'd give them away to a fan. Well, this particular pair, he had just started wearing them that day and actually left them in my car at the end of the day, and so he just ended up giving me those. And then he had these glasses produced that had Jaw and his name on the sides, and I got a couple pair of those. That's a promotional photo of him with Kiss, autographed by him. That's the ticket from we went to Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum, which I believe was in Vegas when we visited Vegas. This is a little program brochure thing from the Las Vegas Neon Museum. You remember we saw that. That was kind of fun. You may remember when Jordan went down and they were having a celebration in downtown Hollywood for Ringo Starr, and Jordan got this cookie and he gave it to me because he said he knew I wouldn't eat it, that he said he knew I'd keep it. He was right, I did. And then of course a couple of fun things. Neverland Ranch was always on his bucket list of things he wanted to do, and on one of the vlogs that we attempted to go, we couldn't do what we wanted to do because it had rained the previous week and the area was all blocked out. So we were trying to, we'd driven like 300 miles to get there, and we were trying to figure out what we could do to kill time. And Jordan says, well, Neverland Ranch is just like an hour from here. I said, let's go. So we did, and that was one of his bucket list items. And he wrote this for me. He said, thank you for helping me knock something off my bucket list without us going to jail. So that's kind of cool. This is Jordan's handwritten notes on when he did the vlog on Pulp Fiction filming locations. So, the scene where Marsalis is hit by Bruce Willis in the car, and let's see, some of the houses. Sometimes hard to read his writing here. The exterior of Jackrabbit Slims, where Travolta and Uma Thurman had their date at that weird restaurant. We went to Butch's house and Jimmy's house. That was kind of fun. So that was great. This is more handwritten notes when we went to Van Halen house. That was episode 274 if you're looking it up. And all kind of his handwritten notes about what he wanted to see and what he wanted to talk about when he got there. And then of course, you know, Jordan came with me when I drove to Texas the first time. And this is his, these are his handwritten notes from all the places we visited. The Alice, the Hey Dude Ranch, the Revenge of the Nerds, more Revenge of the Nerds, Can't Buy Me Love, Meow Wolf, Roswell, Roy Orbison Museum, Buddy Holly Museum, Waylon Jennings Liquor Store, Billy the Kid Museum, Statue and Grave, Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff. Yeah, that was really fun too. And a couple of minutes ago I was talking to you about the drum head that had that piece of Seth Frail artwork on it. That's it right there. And Jordan managed to autograph that for me, and he got Michael Carlson to autograph it for me, and Hale, and John Madsen. You know him as John Juan. So yeah, that's kind of cool. That's going to be hanging up in here some point. Oh, and of course I got a pair of these. Jordan sent me this about a month ago right after you got them made. So that's a really cool piece of the collection. So anyway, I think that's all that I have for today. I hope you enjoyed watching that. It was kind of fun to see all that, right? It was fun to kind of relive those memories. So I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.